we are, bam, back again. We have our Rokket deck. It is updated with a new engine that we've been testing out since all the locals are canceled. I figured we'd try and mess with it a little bit. Heavily inspired by RevZCards, his channel and his deck list. Put that right over there. So for our main deck, we are still running 3 Rokket Tracers. Very nice card. You pop one of your face-up cards to summon a Rokket card. I was kind of worried because I've been cutting down my Rockets. I only have, including these 3, I have 9 in the deck total. I think I've only run out of resources once to use his effect. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll add a few more, maybe not. Actually, I only have 8 more because Router is not a Rokket monster. That brings us to our next card, Router. What I've done before is first turn I'll summon him, and then because you have a Rokket monster, you can special summon him from your hand. If I draw into Router, I usually don't because I only play him at 1, but if I do, then I'll pop him with Rokket Tracer, special summon out like Silver Rokket or somebody else to get out Scarlet Red Dragon, and then I will also use his effect to bring in a card to the hand. Sometimes Rokket Synchron, I'm not quite sure. And boom. Then we run, I'll show you the rest of the Rockets here, because they're all level 4s, and, I'm sorry, they're not all level 4s. I say that, and then I get to Rokket Synchron. But the rest fulfill pretty much the same role, and that's basically, alongside Rokket Tracer, I use them as synchro fodder for Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend, and that's about it. I don't have a lot to say on, because I usually don't activate their effects. Actually, hardly ever. Unless they get sent to the graveyard, then I can activate their effect. They all share the same graveyard effect except Rokket Synchron. Basically, you get a special summon or add a card to your hand. Not and or, but each one does a different one, I believe. And then we got Rokket Synchron. Normal summon him, add a level 5 or higher Dark Dragon monster in the graveyard. Special summon it in defense position, negate its effects, destroy it during the end phase. So if you pop Router or send him with Dragon Shrine or something, you can add him to your hand, normal summon him, and then you have 2 all ready to go for a synchro summon into Scarlight or whatever else you want to do with them. Bam. Then we run our Crusadia engine, 3 Maximus, 3 Draco, and 3 copies of Crusadia Arborea. If I only have 1 copy of a Crusadia monster in my hand, I usually won't run anything. But if I have a couple, we'll try and climb up and get something else going. Especially because if you special summon on top of Crusadia, Magius, if you special summon to a link zone that he points to, then you can add a Crusadia monster from your deck to your hand, so that's good. Arborea is really good in the graveyard or on the field. You basically pitch her, I think it's banish her, to protect your monsters, whether that's from being destroyed after an attack or effects. And I've been able to get quite consistently, get all the way up to Equimax, so that's always really nice to have. Draco, I believe, adds a card from your graveyard when he's special summoned to a zone a link monster points to. He adds a Crusadia monster from your graveyard to your hand, and Crusadia Maximus protects your link monster, so not too bad. We'll get to the Crusadia links in a little bit. Then I run 1 Black Metal Dragon. You can equip him to a Red Eyes monster, I believe it is, to make them gain 600 attack. Or if he's on the field and goes to the graveyard, you can add 1 Red Eyes monster from your deck to your hand. So I usually use Darkness Metal Dragon. Pop him with either Rokket Tracer's effect or some other effect. Grab up Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. You can special summon him from your hand by, I believe it's banishing. Let me double check that real quick. Yep, banishing 1 face-up dragon type monster you control. Gains you a special summon from either your hand or graveyard of a dragon monster, so that is always very nice. The next few are one-ofs, so we'll go over them real quick. White Dragon Wyver Burster. You banish 1, I believe it's dark monster in your graveyard, dark dragon maybe? Nope, just dark monster in your graveyard to special summon him. He's level 4. Then when he gets sent to the graveyard, you can add a Black Dragon Collapse Serpent to your hand. I actually took Collapse Serpent out because you need to banish a light monster for him, and I usually didn't have one until I added the Crusadia engine. I didn't run very many, and I think 3 of those copies are wind, so I just left him out. I'll think about adding him back because I could see the use for him, but I don't know. Then we have 1 copy of Chaos Dragon Levianeer. Very cool effect. Banish three monsters from your graveyard, light or dark. It can be 3 lights, 3 darks, or 3 of a mix. And then he gains 1 effect based on what you banish. So let me see. One of his effects, only light, special summon 1 monster from your graveyard in defense position. Only dark, shuffle 1 random card from your opponent's hand into the deck, or both light and dark. Destroy up to 2 cards on the field. That is a crazy effect. I absolutely love it. I usually try and get him out. Seeing as how he's only at 1, I don't draw into him that much, but I definitely like having him. Another card that we don't see too much of, it's Fantastical Dragon Phantasme. We pulled him in Dual Overload, his reprint, and I added him because I really like him. But now with Master Rule 5, I don't know if he's going to see that much playtime. I still keep him in there, but I almost considered side decking him, especially playing him at only 1 copy. But I considered side decking him just because after Master Rule 5, we're going to see a lot more Synchro, Xyz, etc. So we will see. And then we have 1 Galactic Spiral Dragon. Considered bumping him up because we have a bunch of cards. Let's see. Dragon Ravine, Foolish Burial, and Dragon Shrine. That lets you all pitch cards to the graveyard. He's a target, Absol Router's a target, and that's basically it. Then you can use like Silver Rocket if you're out of options to, special summon a card at the end during the end phase, excuse me. But his secondary effect is what I was most interested in. 2 things actually. You can special summon him if you have 2 dragon monsters on the field, which I usually do. So you grab him out pretty easily, and then activate his effect to make every card on your field a level 8 for the rest of the turn. And that gets you into an Xyz summon that we will get into in a little bit based off RevZ. So if you guys can guess what that is, drop a comment down below. Otherwise, I will show you here in a little bit. All right, then our hand traps. 1 Ash Blossom and 2 Ghost Bell. Ash Blossom is for adding cards from your deck to your graveyard. Special summoning from your graveyard, I think. Let me double check that. Special summon from the deck. Deck to the hand, and then send a card from the deck to the graveyard. So she's very useful. The only reason I don't run her at 3 is because Ghost Ogre lets you pitch her to stop effects. So it stops monster effects, spell, and trap cards just by pitching it. So that has more utility with the decks that I've been playing against than Ash Blossom. But I've still been playing 1 of her as well. So I could see playing 3 Ghost Ogre. That would be just as fine. But Ash Blossom also has its place. Foolish Burial, pitch a card from your deck to the graveyard. Dragon Shrine, send a dragon type monster from deck to the graveyard. And then Dragon Ravine basically has the same effect because we don't have a Dragoonity monster in our deck. Then we run 1 Boot Sector Launch. I could see bumping that up if we added a Striker Dragon, but for the moment we do not have that. So we just run the 1. Increases rocket monsters' attack and defense by 300. You can also, I believe, special summon from your hand. Special summon up to 2 rocket monsters with different names from your hand in defense position. If your opponent controls more monsters than you do, special summon in defense position up to the difference. So that's a 1 or the other effect. I don't believe you can activate both. And then 2 cards that we play 3 of. 3 Quick Launch and 3 Boral Regenerators. Quick Launch lets you special summon 1 rocket monster out of your deck and then destroy it during the end phase. Super easy to get Red Dragon Archfiend out that way. Bam, bam. Or if you can get 3 out with a combo already and then you do that, then you have 4. You can make Boral Sword, Boral Load, whatever you like. And then 3 Boral Regenerators grabs you a rocket monster from your graveyard. attaches this card to it, and then if it's destroyed by card effect, I believe, and sent to the graveyard, then you banish it when it's sent to the graveyard, and then you can draw a card when it leaves the field. And the last three we play at 1 each. One is Dirge of the Lost Dragon. We'll go over that in a second. One is Crackdown, and one is Infinite Impermanence. Impermanence, we don't run at 3 because it's expensive, but honestly might also get moved to the side deck. We will see. Excuse me. Crackdown is a good trap. You basically take control of your opponent's monster. Can't attack or activate its effect, I believe. Yep. And then when the monster leaves the field, destroy this card. Dirge of the Lost Dragon is a card I found when I was looking at other cards to add, like Galactic Spiral and the other one in our extra deck. This card lets you declare a name and then declare a name of a card, and if that card is played, then you have the owner's life points, I believe it is. So, you could play, or you could say, I don't know, say like Mirror Force or something, and then if your opponent flips that over at any time, then they lose half of their life points. That seems like a great card to me, so especially if you know what deck you're up against. I could definitely see that being a side deck card, maybe a one of in the side deck, but right now I'm just running one in the main because I already know what I'm going up against with my brother and my brother-in-law. So versus my brother-in-law, sometimes we have mirror matches with our Rockets, so I will probably not do that in there. Now into the extra deck. We'll go with our Crusadias first. One Crusadia Magius. Very easy. He's a Link 1. He also takes they all take the attack of the monster that they point to. So Link 1, Link 2, Link 3, and then basically like what you do is play a Crusadia monster, special summon him out, then you can special summon a Crusadia monster from your hand to the one that he points to, which I believe is just down. Yep. And then he gains that attack, but also his effect is when you special summon a monster to the arrow he points to, you can add a monster from your deck, a Crusadia monster from your deck to your hand, so that gains you basically into Spatha. And if you play like a Draco, you can add the one that you used for him from your graveyard to your hand. But if it's a Arborea, then usually I keep it in there for protection. A lot of the time, if you draw into a few of them, and then also use Magius's effect, super easy to get Equimax out. Has 2,000 attack. He protects himself not only with Arborea in the graveyard, he also protects himself if there's a Crusadia or World Legacy monster pointing to one of his arrows. You can sacrifice that monster and then protect him from battles or effects, I believe it is. Like I said, he has 2,000, so if you special summon something to a zone that he points to, like Red Eye's Darkness Petal, it's easily over 5,000 and is crazy. The monsters that he points to cannot attack, though, so I've had a few issues where I was like, yeah, I thought I had game and I was just one attack short. Go over our Link 4s. Boral Guard, who we actually replaced Boral Sword with. Not crazy about him so far, but And then we have, I haven't used him too much, so I can't really comment on what I think about him. We'll pitch him for now. I apologize. Topologic or Topologic Bomber Dragon. We've used him a couple times. When something is special summoned to a zone he points to, you can basically blow up the main monster zones, and that is a great effect. So I've used him a couple times. Saryuja, he has different effects based on the number of cards that you send for him, and one of his effects is adding special summons, I believe it is. You can gain, what is it? Once per turn during your main phase, special summon one monster from your hand. So crazy effect there. I use that quite a lot. Boral Load and Nightmare Griffin. You can discard a card and then add a spell or trap from your graveyard and set it, actually. I don't think it's back to your hand. I think you can set it immediately. So that's pretty nice. And then, like the other Nightmare monsters, if it was co-linked during this, you can draw a card, so that's pretty easy. Boral Load. You already know why we have him in there. 2s, Quad Boral, Nightmare Cerberus, Heavenly Spheres, Wee Witch's Apprentice, and actually that's it for Link 2s. So Quad Boral lets you discard a card and then pop a face-up monster on the field. So that's a crazy effect. I use that. Especially being a Link 2, very easy to do. Nightmare Cerberus, discard a card and then pop one of your opponent's monsters in the main monster zone. Very useful. And then Heavenly Spheres, you tribute one card you control to send one card on the field back to the owner's hand. Pretty useful. Not crazy about this card. I see the utility for it, but I'm just not crazy about it. I usually try and get out like Nightmare Cerberus or Quad Boral or something like that, but I definitely see how an opening board with this and another boss monster would be incredible, so I'll think about it. Then Wee Witch's Apprentice increases dark monsters' attack and defense, decreases light monsters' attack and defense. That's pretty good. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one dark monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand, so that gets you another either Rokket or whatever you want to play. And then our only level 3 or Link 3 is a triple burst dragon. And you get a couple things. You basically get a monster spell or trap negate, which is awesome, and then inflict piercing damage when you attack a defense position monster, right? And then our one synchro, Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend. The only reason I have the Ghost Rare is because I pulled it a long time ago. I know it's like a $30 card, but if you really want to run him, and I kind of recommend you do, he's a very good card. Easy to get over though, but a very good card to have. They have, I believe it's a super rare, maybe. That's like $1.50. Definitely recommend picking him up. Blow up basically all the special summon monsters, including your own, that have attack equal to or less than Scarlet Red Dragon, who has 3,000. So you gotta watch for that. It protects himself, but it will blow up your special summon monsters, so you have to watch for that. But very good to clear your opponent's board, or at least their monsters. This one is the one we just added that we use Galactic Spiral for, and the reason I'm thinking about jumping it up to 2, and that's Dingirsu. We picked him up with the reprint that he received with Dual Overload. You special summon him. Let me read this to make sure I get him right. When he's summoned, I can activate one of these effects, send one card your opponent controls to the graveyard, or attach one of your banished machine monsters to this card as material, and then basically you can dump material to protect one of your cards on the field. So that's very cool. I don't run machine monsters, so I can't add that one, but you pop a card and then you also get protection, so I usually try and get him out as fast as I can, which with Rockets and then Dragon Shrine, Dragon Ravine, and then Foolish Burial seems to be really easy, because you can get Galactic Spiral. You basically pitch Galactic Spiral from your deck to the graveyard with one of those 3 cards, then summon him from your graveyard with his effect when you have 2 or more dark, I think it's just dragon monsters, I'm pretty sure, dragon monsters on your field, and then use his effect to bump them all up to 8, and then dump 2 cards for Dingirsu. And if you have advice, comments, questions, concerns, whatever you got for me, drop it in the comments down below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one.